right, Mark, you're gonna punch your tripod.
What?
You're gonna punch your tripod.
How far? Backwards?
Oh, stop!
It is finally here. The VR headset that Oculus and Facebook have been working on for quite some time is here, the Oculus Quest. I've been waiting for this thing for a long time, as far back as when they called it Santa Cruz, which was more or less the code name that they used for the Quest before it was the Quest. VR has always excited me. I had the original Rift before this, and while it was an amazing headset for the time, and it was a lot of fun, it did have a lot of problems which I think the Quest addresses perfectly. One of those issues was the tether. The Rift had to be tethered to a powerful gaming PC at all times in order to be used, and it really used to limit my freedom in games, and it did suck a lot of fun out of it. Of course, you could hang the tether from the ceiling and, string it along, but it still felt like you were a dog on a leash. You could only run so far before you had to hit the end of the leash and turn around and come back with your tail between your legs. The Quest solves that problem by being completely wireless. Not only do you not have to own a gaming PC to use the Quest, but it also has a built-in battery and an onboard processor to run the games from. So right off the bat, Oculus have significantly reduced the cost to own a VR headset by removing the need for a powerful PC, and they removed the restrictive element of having a tether attached to said PC. Now, that said, we have seen this before in Oculus's first standalone headset, the Oculus Go. But there are some major differences between the Go and the Quest. First off, the Go only had 3 degrees of freedom. You could look around from a fixed point, but anytime you tried to move your physical body forward or backward or left and right, the immersion was broken because the headset couldn't track that movement. The Quest, however, has a full 6 degrees of movement like most other headsets. I can walk around in any direction and the Quest will track that movement within the virtual space. The Quest uses inside-out tracking from the 4 cameras positioned at all 4 corners of the headset. That means that unlike the original Rift or Vive, you don't need to set up tracking sensors throughout your play area. Again, another restrictive element that Oculus removed. I think their goal for the Quest was essentially to produce a standalone console that would be easy as possible for anyone to just pick up and use in a few minutes. And as you'll see in just a few seconds, I really think they succeeded. Every time you turn on the headset after the initial setup, the Quest will ask you to confirm your Guardian boundary. This is basically Oculus's safety feature that helps prevent you from smashing yourself off of walls or other objects in your play area. The cameras will turn on and give you a monochrome representation of the real world around you. This is super helpful for finding your controllers while your headset is over your eyes, or even just navigating outside of your play area. Once you're in the area you want to play in, all you have to do is confirm the floor level and then draw a space with one of your controllers, and the Quest will immediately put you inside of the virtual world. If I get too close to the boundary that I set up, the grid will appear and tell me that I'm getting too close. If I poke my head through the boundary, the cameras will turn on again and show me the real world. While it is a little too sensitive and the grid can appear often, I'd rather that than the alternative where I smash my controller through my TV or something.
Throw that ball up in the air, and oh, jeez. And there goes the tennis racket.
The first thing I noticed immediately after putting the headset on my face is the visual clarity. It is miles ahead of the original Rift, and although the screen door effect is still somewhat present, it's greatly improved. This is majorly due to the fact that Oculus put 1440 by 1600 resolution screens in there over the original Rift's 1080 by 1200. The second thing I noticed is that the frame rate is noticeably lower. Of course, it isn't to the point where it's unplayable, but if you've used the original Rift at its 90 Hz, the 72 Hz of the Quest is definitely noticeable. Animations just don't feel as smooth, and it does take a little bit away from the overall experience. I have a feeling that Oculus did the best that they could with what they had though. The Quest uses a mobile Snapdragon 835 CPU and only 4 gigs of RAM. That's a far cry of what you could have had with an Oculus Rift paired with a powerful gaming PC. Unfortunately, that also means the Quest takes a hit in overall graphical quality too. If you look at some games like Robo Recall and Apex Construct side by side, it becomes very apparent that devs had to cut corners when porting their games from the Rift to the Quest. That said, what Oculus was able to pull out of this puny Snapdragon 835 is nothing short of impressive. Less demanding games like BOGO and Racket Fury look flawless on the Quest, and even bigger games like VR Chat and Robo Recall still look great. Tracking is one thing I do want to touch on a little in this first impressions video. I haven't played all of the titles that are currently available in the Oculus Store, but I have played a lot of them, and overall, the inside-out tracking does fairly well. I have noticed, however, that the tracking does fall quite a bit behind the outside-in tracking systems that the Rift and the Vive use. While it does well in some games like Robo Recall and Super Hot, Racket Fury can be another story. There were several instances where my paddle lost tracking and disappeared altogether, causing me to lose a point and even lose the match from time to time, which is honestly very frustrating. Anytime the cameras lose sight of the controllers, the Quest will lose tracking. This means that if you're looking up at the sky and the controllers are down by your sides, you'll lose tracking, or if your controllers are behind your head or back, the tracking's gone. Not only that, but I've found that very quick movements can also make the tracking fail a little. It's possible that future updates will improve the tracking, but as of right now, if I had to give the Quest a tracking rating, I'd give it a 7 or even 8 out of 10, whereas something like the original Rift or Vive would probably get around a 9 out of 10. In terms of comfort, the Quest does okay. Because it's entirely self-contained, it does feel a little bit top-heavy, and after long gaming sessions, you will start to feel a little uncomfortable in the facial area. But it's nothing a short 5-minute break won't fix. People have already started modding the Quest headset and mixing it up with the Vive's deluxe audio strap to increase comfort, and apparently it's really easy, so that's cool. The only other downside to speak of is the limited game library right now. As of the release date of this video, there are only around 50 different games to choose from, and compared to, the hundreds of games that are available on Steam VR on the PC VR side of things, that puts the Quest at a bit of a disadvantage. But all of these little problems would never ever bring me to a point where I would discourage someone from buying the Oculus Quest. The freedom that the Quest provides is second to none. You can set a Guardian boundary of up to 25 by 25 feet, or you can turn off the Guardian boundary altogether and get a virtually unlimited play area, at the risk of smashing your face off of walls and other objects. No other headset with 6 degrees of freedom offers that, and that alone makes the Quest worth it. Depending on the game you're playing, you can easily get around 2.5 to even 3 hours with it, but I don't actually recommend spending that much time in VR on the Quest at one time. Just like any other rechargeable battery, it's bad for the battery's lifetime health to charge it up to 100% and then use it until it's dead every time. So I recommend to play for an hour or two, then take a break and recharge it. There's so much more I need to talk about with regards to this headset. I want to talk about the audio and how it works on the Quest. I want to talk about the new touch controllers, the price of the whole thing, the best games to buy for it, the storage options, and on and on and on. But I'm going to save that for the full review, which should be coming when I do some more in-depth testing of this thing and after I've had it for more than a couple of weeks. But for now, this is the bottom line. As of right now, the Oculus Quest is the first headset in a long time that has gotten me excited about VR again. It's an incredibly fun experience, and I really believe that if Oculus has a shot at making a more mainstream headset, this is it. If you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe to support my content, and as always, have a great day.